Welcome to today's episode of TheeDigital's GrowthCast. Today we're going to talk about the benefits of how to use reusable blocks, and I'm joined by our production team. It sounds like a simple concept, reusable blocks, but I know from experience it can be a little tricky. So what exactly are reusable blocks?
So reusable blocks are used in WordPress with the Gutenberg blocks. So you can set up a section on your page using Gutenberg blocks. And once you get it exactly the way you like it, you can save it as a reusable block. Then if you go and add that reusable block to other pages, it'll be the same and it'll be linked. So if you change, for instance, if you change a phone number in a call to action in a reusable block, it'll update that phone number across all the blocks on your site. Now, sometimes you want to use a reusable block to kind of get, because you like the formatting, but you want different content in that block. And I understand, Garrett, you figured out how to be able to change the content in a reusable block on a particular page and not update all the blocks. So, how do you do that again?
So that process is actually pretty simple. So after you've kind of created your reusable blocks, you have your collection, your arrangement of, how you want it to look and lay out, on a per page basis. In order to edit those blocks just per page, when you select the grouping, it allows you to convert to regular blocks. So basically all it does is it kind of just breaks up the group of called a reusable block and then just puts the regular block on page, but keeps all the original settings that you created in that reusable block. So you can go ahead and just edit the content there, publish your page, or save it as the draft, and it won't mess up any of the other blocks that you've created, that you've reused on other pages throughout the site.
Cool. So you just click on that reusable block, and in those options with the three dots, it says convert to regular block.
Correct.
All right, cool. I'll have to try that.
So I know you guys kind of already touched upon it, but for users who are trying to picture, what's an example of when they would use a reusable block? Or maybe if you can give some examples. So,
Yeah, so one I recently did was tables. Tables can be kind of cumbersome to set up on a WordPress site, depending on the rows, the styling. So that's a popular one that I've seen, people use reusable blocks for. So, I'd go into the reusable blocks section, set up the table, get the rows, provide all the styling and maybe some defaulted, values in those tables, and then create that subset as a reusable block. And then what I can do is go on, page 1, 2, and 3, add that reusable block. Maybe 1 and 2 have the same table, but we want to display both. But page 3 has a little bit different content. So what I'll go in is convert that table to a regular block for that page, and then edit the content specific to that page so it doesn't disrupt the other first 2 pages.
awesome. Well, I think that's pretty clear. I think you cleared it up. Thank you guys for explaining the benefits and how to use reusable blocks. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Welcome to today's episode of TheeDigital's GrowthCast. I'm joined by the production team, and we're going to talk about the benefits and how to use shortcodes. So, guys, what is a shortcode?
A shortcode is a little piece of code that lets you quickly and easily add bits of predefined functionality to a page or post or even a widget. It's kind of similar to a macro in Microsoft Office. So, there's code behind it. And when you add this short code to a page or post, it performs whatever the predetermined functionality has been coded to be.
So why might a user want to use shortcodes in their WordPress website?
To save time, and also, if you're not a coder, you can have your programmer code a short code, so then you can add that functionality anywhere on the site that you want by just a word and some brackets. It's just to save time and to be able to use something over and over again.
Yeah, a good example is like a date on your site that you want to automatically update every year, maybe like a copyright, something like that. You can have that be programmed as a short code, and then every year it'll automatically update. So it's something you don't have to worry about updating. And there are a number of default short codes that come with WordPress that you don't have to program yourself or have somebody program for you. A popular one would be gallery. You put a gallery in the short code and list the number of the images, and it'll create an image gallery for you. There's audio caption. That's another popular one to wrap captions around content. There's embed, which helps you set dimensions for an item. There's a playlist for playing videos. There's a video short code for placing a video, and it just makes it easier to set those things in your site without some custom code.
So what are some other maybe popular examples of shortcodes that we've seen out there or that we usually develop for websites that we build?
Yeah, so some of the shortcodes that I've used a lot on some sites is the address of a company name or site title, the company URL, phone number, details that are pertinent to the company itself that you're using on almost every page. So it's a great way to use and factor the shortcodes into your content, because let's say you need to update your phone number, you can update it in one place, and that shortcode will then update it across. Let's say you have it placed on hundreds of pages. So that way we don't have to do a direct bind and replace, which can have its pros and cons. The same thing with having to go in every single page and update it one by one. That's a lot of time spent. That could be used in a better place. So we like to use the address, phone numbers, things like that sometimes update from time to time if a business changes its location or changes a phone number. It's a great and quick way to update that on the fly.
Yeah, and your programmer can put advanced custom fields in the theme options. So you can just fill in the phone number, fill in the address, and then wherever you add the short code, it'll pull that information from that field. So it's easy for you to update as well without needing to know code.
Cool. Anything I missed that we should mention before we end our discussion on shortcodes?
There are some plugins that use shortcodes primarily, such as TablePress, which is really useful if you have a table you want to create using the TablePress plugin and then display that table in multiple sections on the site without having to recreate the table for each page. Once you update it in TablePress, then it'll update it everywhere where you have that shortcode displayed in that plugin.
Yeah, also the Events Calendar Pro plugin, you can add events to certain pages. You can do it by category or tag. So just another, you enter all of the event info in the Events Calendar Pro settings or in the event custom post type, but then you can choose where to display it and how using their shortcodes.
Yeah, and some events plugins use different types of shortcodes to display different types of things. So if I wanted to display my events in a grid, it would be like shortcode would be grid. Or my events in a list, the shortcode on that page would be list. So there's different plugins use them in different ways. So you always have to go in and kind of learn what each plugin does and how they use them, but they are really useful.
Yeah, and they usually show the list of shortcodes available in the plugin documentation.
Thank you to the TheeDigital production team for joining us and explaining the benefits and how to use shortcodes. See you guys on the next episode.